Well, let's see if this one will work. I'm in a pissy mood. You're gonna get a pissy mood from me tonight because technology's stupid, and anytime I need something to work right, it doesn't work. So, hi, welcome to the Black and Gold Breakdown, Wednesday, May 29th. Today talking about Patrick Queen. If you're new to the channel, please do all that YouTube stuff and subscribe. Getting closer and closer to 1,000 subs, so I appreciate everybody for the support over the last month or so. Yeah, that was irritating. So yeah, obviously tried going live, it crashed, had to restart it. Here we are. But regardless, I'm here in a slightly pissy mood. I hate when I'm the type of person where, like, if something big's going down, I keep my composure. I will not blink. The smallest things though will set me off. Like that, like going live and like my computer crashing, I could punch a hole through 9 walls right now. I am just irritated. Oh, I'm irritated. Um, if I drop something, oh, don't be around me. Like the smallest things will just put me in like the quickest pissy mood. There's probably a word for that. I don't get angry towards like people, but like I'll just need a minute to just like yell. I think I've just got like Bill Burr syndrome, where like I just need to like yell out my annoyances. Like right now, oh, I want to real bad, but I'm not gonna, because we're gonna talk about Patrick Queen today. Um, as I said, we would yesterday. Hi, Worthy. Good to see you. Thanks for being in the chat. So a few days ago, Patrick Queen appeared on Derek Bell of Steelers Now's YouTube channel, which, by the way, if you're not already subscribed to Derek, I would be shocked if you're watching this and you're not. Go over and subscribe to Steelers_DB on YouTube. And he, in talking to Derek, said that he turned down more money and took less money to come to Pittsburgh because he wanted to be a Steeler and wanted to win right now. He said, and I quote, "It was like 5 teams in the mix. Some of them were offering 17 million a year. After that, it was like I have a chance to either go win or I have a chance to get paid. For me, the difference was like 4 or 5 million." So there were teams that were ready and willing to give Patrick Queen a large sum of money to put in the middle of their defense. And according to him, some of them were offering $17 million a year. Obviously, he signs with Pittsburgh 3 years, 41 million. So that puts him right under $14 million a year for an annual average value on his contract. And it's the largest external contract the Steelers have ever given anybody. So the fact that he came to Pittsburgh, that's huge for the Steelers. And he talked about it himself in his intro press conference when they asked about the reasons that he came to Pittsburgh. He pointed directly at Mike Tomlin and said, him, I wanted to play for Mike Tomlin. Which, by the way, any naysayers of Mike Tomlin, that is one thing that consistently comes up with guys who come to the team are like, yeah, I'm excited to play for Mike Tomlin, or I came here because, the biggest reason I came here is because I wanted to play for Mike Tomlin. So even the biggest detractors of Tomlin, I mean, you look at like basically the recruiting power that he has, it's not small. You look at Patrick Queen, Deshaun Elliott, Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, even wanting to come to Pittsburgh. So, and again, if you haven't watched the entire interview that Derek Bell did with Patrick Queen, it's over on his YouTube channel, Steelers_DB. And again, if you're watching this, I would be surprised if you also don't watch Derek. Let me take a water break. So I'm excited to see what Patrick Queen brings to the table. Obviously, we know he's very good, and that's the reason that so many people are excited that he's a Steeler coming over from Baltimore. So this is an exciting addition to the team, and I'll see him up close and personal again tomorrow. I'll be at OTAs again tomorrow, so tomorrow's show will be heavily focused on that. Doing a lot of write-ups tomorrow about my takeaways from OTAs, so it'll be a very OTA heavy show tomorrow in terms of my firsthand sights, sounds. Talk talk to some guys in the locker room afterwards, so that'll be a lot of fun. So if that sounds like your type of thing, absolutely subscribe to the channel. If you want firsthand accounts from Steelers players and whatnot from OTAs, definitely subscribe if you're not already subscribed. People in the chat, hello, X Concepts. Patrick Queen is the most underrated signing of any team this offseason. Can't wait to see him play this year. I'm excited as well, especially with Peyton Wilson, with Landon Roberts, and then with a hopefully healthier sooner than later Cole Holcomb. I think that there's going to be a lot of really good talent on the defensive side of the ball and on the defense as a whole, but in that linebacker room especially. Very excited to see what he does. I talked to Peyton Wilson last week about the linebacker room, and he's like, it can be a very special group with PQ and Landon Roberts, myself. So internally, they feel really good about what they have, and that's a very good thing. I don't care. We'll be terrible unless we get. No, they won't. Like, here's the thing. Even if they don't get like a big name at wide receiver, they're not going to be terrible. Like, you still got a George Pickens, a Roman Wilson, a Pat Freiermuth. Those are 3 solid targets to have. They're not going to be terrible if they don't get a DK Metcalf or a Brandon. Like, they're still going to be fine. I don't. That way of thinking blows my mind. Top inside linebacker room in the NFL? Maybe. I mean, I don't think that Peyton Wilson or Patrick Queen are better than Fred Warner in San Francisco. Like, Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, that is a group. Now, Dre Greenlaw obviously recovering from the Achilles injury that he suffered in the Super Bowl. But in terms of like pure athleticism, closing speed, nose for the football, good in coverage, like they got two dudes that are really good at that with Wilson and Queen. Landon Roberts is very good in his role. And was terrific last year. Like, I know that we talk a lot about the Queen and Peyton Wilson, but you can't forget about Landon Roberts because he was awesome last year. He played through some injuries late in the year, only missed 1 game because of injuries. Like, that was a dude who was very important to the Steelers defense and what they did last year, kind of an unsung hero to some people. But Landon Roberts is terrific. So they got 3 legitimate, really good inside linebackers, which isn't something they've been able to say since they had James Ferrier, Larry Foote, Lawrence Timmons. I think that's probably as far back as you'd have to go to really talk about like a really good inside linebacker room. So top 1 in the NFL, I don't know. Definitely one of the better ones in the NFL for sure, though. Hope all is well with you. I appreciate that. Do you think Ayuk talks to Steelers should return? Joan Jennings got extended by San Francisco. No, I don't think so. Again, like, the 49ers are going all in. That's my takeaway. It's been my takeaway since the draft. Like, if something were to get done, they would have done it by now. I think that they're just they're just trying to load up for this year. Like, keeping Juwan Jennings around for the foreseeable future, that's good. But I've said it for the past few months. They're keeping Ayuk. They're keeping Debo. Now they have Juwan Jennings for the foreseeable future. They have Ricky Pearsall to build around for the future. I think they're going to go all in with all of those dudes this year and then move on from either Debo or Ayuk next offseason. My guess is it's probably going to be they move Debo. But no, I don't think anything is going to happen with the 49ers. Cole Holcomb said he'll be playing this year. Hopefully he makes a full return. Queen, Holcomb, Roberts, and Payton is an insane depth chart. Yeah, Cole Holcomb did touch on that. He said that, he's going to play and that he knows he's going to play again, which is good. It's very good to hear firsthand from Cole Holcomb that he, plans to be 100%. He knows he's going to be 100% at some point. So that's good. It was very nice to hear that. Again, it's a matter of when, not if, which is good. But we just don't know the when yet. But overall, the linebacker room, man, like, it's going to be very good. And again, you have to go back to, I talked about it last week with Chris Carter, talking about, hey, you have to go back to, the mid 2000s when they had, the Joey Porters of the world and, James Ferry or Larry Foote, when they had that group of linebackers, to really remember how, the last time they had a linebacking room like this. So it's an exciting time, especially in an NFL where the middle of the field is so important. Now you've got two dudes who can really take it away in Peyton Wilson and Patrick Queen. Cole Holcomb will play a role. Elandon Roberts will be really good against the run like he was last year. That is a very good inside linebacker room right there. So I'm excited to see how they all play their roles. I'm excited to see what Patrick Queen does in year one as a Steeler. I'll see him tomorrow at OTAs, and tomorrow's show will be very OTA heavy. So bring your questions, bring whatever you got. By the way, if you want to drop a super chat, you can do that now, which is pretty neat. If you just feel like supporting me a little bit extra, that would be lovely. If you don't want to, no worries, but you can, which is very nice. But yeah, tomorrow's going to be a very OTA heavy show. I'm going to be doing a lot of write-ups after OTAs, so I'll talk about just everything that I saw, my biggest takeaways, my biggest winners of the day. I'm going to talk to guys after practice, so whatever they say to me in terms of notable stuff, we'll talk about as well. So tomorrow is going to be a very don't miss it type of show. And of course, follow all the written work at USA Today, Behind the Steel Curtain, all of that. If you want to get more content from me, and follow me on Twitter at JBaileyNFL to keep up with everything that I'm doing. And again, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Sorry, man. Twitter's constantly brainwashing me. Look, dude, I get it. It's it's one of those times of year where everybody, it's late May. People are like, oh man, maybe something could happen. So I get it. Oh, speak of the devil himself, Derek Bell is in the chat. We were just talking about you, DB. And this is an important point, by the way, because DB pointed this out on Twitter today. If you're going to talk about somebody else's work, be sure you give them the proper credit for it. PFT was talking about DB's interview, and I can't remember the exact wording, but he's like, oh yeah, some podcaster whose name I forget. I was like, oh, okay, Mike, way to give that proper attribution. So if you're not already subscribed to DB's channel, go do it. I would be very shocked if you watch this channel and don't watch Derek already. But he's tremendous. Absolutely. Go and give Derek a subscribe, follow him on Twitter. He's tremendous. If I knew half of the X's and O's stuff that Derek did, I would be a smarter person. So can't speak highly enough of him. He's very, very good. I see some DB lovers in the chat as well. I'm excited for the defense, man. Very excited. I think X Concept said something else. Do you see more blitzing and sacks overall from the inside linebacker spot? Queen and Roberts are great blitzers. I guess just more splash in general. Hopefully, we'll see. I might actually go back and see how often they sent like 5 or more rushers last year. I feel like they didn't do it all that much, but I could be wrong. But I'll put a little pin in that question, and then maybe do like a piece on what their defense could look like in terms of pressures this year, in terms of how often they send pressure, how often they send 5 or 6 rushers. So I might look into how often they did that last year. Again, can't remember off the top of my head. But I was just doing a piece. That's for a piece for USA Today, my all breakout team. I was talking about DJ Wanham from the Panthers. And so pass rushing statistics are a little bit fresh in my mind right now. So I might actually go back and look to see how often they sent pressure from the inside linebacker spot and how often they sent like 5 or 6 rushers last year. So that's a good question. If I had to guess, probably. I talked to Dean Lowry after practice last week and asked, hey, what's, obviously it's early, but like, what have you seen in terms of the differences between a Brian Flores defense and this defense? And he said, yeah, obviously, we blitzed a ton last year, and, we're still going to, do some blitz stuff this year, but, probably not to, the extreme that Minnesota did. So obviously Pittsburgh's going to send heat at certain times. They're not going to be live by the blitz, die by the blitz. but they'll send it, especially with all these athletic guys in the middle of the defense. I would expect that they utilize them in multiple ways. So I'm excited to see what that'll look like. JPJ's sophomore leap will be insane. His rookie year was just what we needed. He clearly has a desire to be great. Yes, he does. I was very happy to see him just kind of have confidence in himself. I talked about it on last night's show, so I won't repeat too much of it. But you know, two positions, I guess three, but two positions that you want your dudes to be confident and talk, like you don't mind them talking, receiver and cornerback. Like those are the two most loudmouth positions in football. They're going to talk. Joey Porter, the way in which he said very matter of factly how he feels about himself being the number one cornerback in the NFL. It didn't come off as cocky. It didn't come off as arrogant. Mark Caboli of the Athletic asked who's the best cornerback in the NFL. He said me, for sure. And then he gave a little quick reasoning as to hey, my name doesn't come up in these conversations. I don't really care if it does or not because it will soon enough. I liked that answer. He didn't really have to say much more than that. In terms of all cornerbacks last year who played 100 coverage snaps, Joey Porter allowed the third lowest reception percentage. So he doesn't need to defend himself. I mean, the numbers do that by themselves. So I'm excited to see what's in store for Joey Porter. I'm excited to see what's in store for the entire defensive back group. I think that they are a young, hungry core of guys. Darius Rush told me last week that yeah, we're young, but in today's NFL, you got to have a bunch of young, fast dudes to keep up with these receivers. I was like, all right, fair point all around. And they are a young group. It's Joey Porter, it's Corey Trice, who's basically going into his first season of playing in the NFL. Obviously, it's his second year being in the league, but he didn't play last year. Beanie Bishop's a rookie. Josiah Scott's young. Darius Rush is going into his second year. So it's a very young group. And then Dante Jackson. They did also bring in Anthony Averett. I did forget about that. They brought in Anthony Averett. So I mean, they've got a couple vets in the room. But for the most part, it's a bunch of young dudes vying for position. So I'm excited to see what the defense has in store. Will be interesting to see what the Steelers do at quarterback next year if Russ plays well. Win 11 games, maybe a playoff game or two. Fields wouldn't see the field, but has the higher future ceiling. I think that either way, they're going to incorporate Fields somehow, even if he's not the starter. I just think he's too athletic to not do it. So, I mean, best case scenario, sure. If Russ plays well enough and they win 11 games and win a playoff game, that's great. That is a very they haven't won a playoff game in so long, where that would be very much accepted. Having TJ, Cam, and Highsmith makes you not have to rush as many guys to achieve pressure, so it makes sense to run more dime nickel. Is that the case? I don't expect a ton from they're not only going to rush three guys, it's basically just playing prevent. If they can get consistent pressure with four, that's great. Especially when you have to play teams if you can get pressure with four against the Chiefs, then you've got a really nice opportunity to win the game because Mahomes is so good against the blitz. Even the Bills, Josh Allen, good against the blitz. So if you can avoid blitzing and be able to keep more guys back in coverage, that's great. But if you can't get pressure, then yeah, you're gonna have to send more pressure and go to more sub package looks. But the Steelers aren't a team where they're only gonna send three. That they can get pressure with four because Highsmith is good and obviously TJ Watt's great. But at this point, man, Cam Hayward's going to be 35, 36. I'm not banking on him being this interior disruptor, at least not to the extent that he used to be. Keanu Benton, on the other hand, I think has a nice second year lead. That's a dude who doesn't get a lot of attention because he's an interior defensive lineman, but that's another dude who I have very much high hopes for. You would have to bring back Russell if they think they could take them further. And not necessarily. we've seen plenty of guys lead their teams to the playoffs and then not return the following year. It happens all the time. So if you don't think that he'll take you there, then you don't bring him back. Nickel, Queen, and Wilson. Yeah. Hell, even last week during team drills, they ran a dime package and just kept Peyton Wilson out as the dime backer. So they're showing a lot of confidence in Peyton Wilson, albeit it's OTAs, and it could just be them experimenting to see what it would look like. But they're showing that confidence in him. And I talked to him afterwards and asked him about that. He's like, yeah, it feels really good to have that kind of trust this early on. So he's really feeling it, and I'm happy that he's feeling it. Hayward needs to play nose tackle and let Benton play end. That seems to be the general consensus with most people. Quite frankly, as long as both of them are productive, I don't care where they put either of them. Now, eventually, Benton is going to be that guy who you want on the defensive end, so it would make sense to have him more as the guy closer to the edge rather than further inside. But, he was really good last season as a rookie. Especially when Cam was on the shelf, they really had to ask him to step up, and he did. So I'm excited to see what year 2 brings for Keanu Benton. Again, doesn't get talked about a ton because he's a defensive lineman, but really productive player last year. I saw another. Was Patterson at OTAs? I don't recall him being there. There might have been a reason why he wasn't. I'm not gonna report on as to why, because I don't know why. But it was last Thursday that I was there. I didn't see him on the field, but again, that doesn't mean that he wasn't there. I just personally don't recall seeing him. Let's see. 4 with Benton now, 7 drop back. Just curious and trying to learn defense more. Yeah, again, if you can get pressure with 4 as a defense, you live in that, man. If you can live with 2 safeties, getting pressure with 4, that is great. That's why, if you're a team, if you're going up against the Dolphins, for example, a team that is going to try to run you out of 2 safety looks so they can get you in single high, then that's an issue. That's why when it comes to the Dolphins, Jalen Waddle's awesome, Tyreek Hill's really good, and the passing game is dynamic, but really, their run game is an incredibly important aspect of their game, which is why they have so many fast running backs. Is because, okay, if they're constantly running down your throat, then you got to stack the box. And then if you only have 1 deep safety, well, then that's when they're going to start passing the ball all over the yard. So if you can be a team that lives with getting pressure with 4 and you can live with 2 safeties on the field, then you are in terrific shape. Terrific shape. D-line is stacked. Yeah, somewhat. Keanu Benton's good. Cam is good, but old. Outside of that, it's a lot of unknowns. Larry Ogunjobi is fine, but he's older. Logan Lee, you hope that he turns out to be something good. Dean Lowry's a good depth piece. I wouldn't necessarily call them stacked at the defensive line, though. I think that they have a couple nice players and a couple dudes with, hopefully high upside. That's about Patterson because I think he will be more involved in the offense than people think. I really don't think he's going to be involved in the offense at all. I really don't. I think he's there to return kicks, maybe get the occasional offensive touch. I just don't think that he's going to be. I think that he has one definitive role, and that will be returning kicks and being good at doing that. That's just how I view it going in. I know it's May, so 100% optimism this time of year, but I'm really excited to see all of this new talent, especially some of these second-tier guys. I think they have a real chance to make a difference. We'll see. Yeah. It's definitely all optimism season where everybody feels good about everybody. But less than 2 months until camp. So we're slowly but surely getting there. I think it's 65 days now until the Hall of Fame game. So slowly but surely we're getting there. We're getting there. So we shall see. Leal is going to have a breakout season. I really don't know, man. I think DeMarvin Leal might just not make the roster, if I'm being perfectly honest. I think that he could be a guy that just, though they maybe send him somewhere for, a day 3 pick, But I mean, I just named all the dudes that are going to be competing for time. Like it's going to be Cam, Keanu Benton, Larry Ogunjobi, Logan Lee, Dean Lowry, Isaiah Loudermilk. Um, who else is good? Braden Fajoko. Like that's 7 dudes right there already. I don't think they're going to keep a ton. So I don't know. DeMarvin Leal, I think, would be good in a different system where his skill set is more utilized, is utilized better. But that's a guy who I could very well see either just being cut, or if they can trade him somewhere and get anything for him, then they will. But I don't see him being a guy that has a ginormous year. And again, I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But I think that's a guy who I'm actually bringing up his snap count from last year just because I'm curious as to what it was and like where he was aligned. If I can find it. Where are you at? Where are you at? Where are you at? Where are you at? This is on the fly stuff. Can I pull up where he? Okay, this might work. Will it show me where he was lined up? No. Darn you, PFF. Oh, yes, it will. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. There we go. Okay. So yeah, most of his stuff, his snaps came over the tackle or in the B gap. I think he's more best utilized as like a pure like outside like edge type rusher, and either maybe a 4-3. So I think going somewhere like that would be better for DeMarvin Leal. I think he could be a fine depth guy on like the 49ers defense or the Commanders defense. I just don't think that this is the right type of scheme for him in like a 3-4 base. Really believe we need a nose tackle, so we don't need to stack the box. No real nose tackle for almost 8 years. I mean, you still gotta, if teams are running it down your throat, I mean, you're gonna have to put some extra dudes in that box. So, again, I think that Cam can still be productive from that spot, but again, he wants an extension. And like I've talked about this before too. Like I like Cam Hayward, but like if he were to go somewhere else, like I'd wish him well and it wouldn't bother me. Like I saw a lot of people be like, "Oh, I can't picture Cam Hayward in another uniform." Why? Again, I like Cam Hayward, but it's not as if Ben Roethlisberger in another uniform would have ripped my heart out. But like, respectfully speaking, Cam Hayward, it wouldn't do anything to me. If he wanted to say, "Yeah, I'm going to go to Buffalo or Kansas City and try to win a ring," hey, Godspeed, soldier. You go do you, man. It wouldn't really. Again, I like Cam, and I hope that he would, get a ring. But it wouldn't tear my heart out if he doesn't play, if he plays somewhere else. Just my thoughts. Any idea when a decision on Cam Sutton would be made? I have no inside information on that. I would be more shocked if it doesn't happen, though. At this point, I think it is going to happen just because it makes sense. So if I had to like place a bet on yes or no, will it happen? I would say yes. But I don't have any sort of like insider information on, what's happening, what's going down, what's being said, anything like that. But if I had to bet, it'll happen. I disagree regarding Cordero Patterson. Even at his age, he's still the most athletic person on the team. No, he's not. Let me get one thing very clear. I think Justin Fields is the most athletic guy on the team. Even like Calvin Austin's very athletic. If you want to say versatile, then sure, but like athletic, like let's slow down a little bit. Again, I think that this is a lot of fan brain taking over with a lot of these guys. Like Cordero Patterson will fill a role, but I don't think he's going to be like this major usage guy in the offense. I think Cam thinks he has Ben Bust Troy-like status. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Cam Hayward's not like this egomaniac. He's a good dude. Nah, he might think that. I don't know Cam Hayward personally, but he might think that. Maybe. So yeah, my answer is I don't know. I don't know. And honestly, like I wasn't like the biggest Jerome Bettis dude. Like again, I like Jerome Bettis, but like he's probably not even like my top 20 favorite Steelers of all time. I could give you a list. Jerome Bettis wouldn't be on it, just personally. Um, and just for the record, Cam wouldn't be on it either. I don't even think Cam would be in my top 30. Like he's good. I like him. I just don't have like a connection with him. And there's plenty of like obscure guys that would be in my. Maybe that'll be a show that we do in the summer, like in like the middle of June when nothing's happening. I'll do like my top 20, top 30 Steelers. That would be fun. I'd have to make the list. I know who number 1 is. I know who number 2 is, and I think I know who number 3 is. Outside of that, it's a big free for all. But I definitely know who the top 3 are. I know who number 4 is, and probably number 5. So I've got like I've got the top 5. I'm not going to tell you who it is, though. I'll save that for the eventual top 20 favorite Steelers show. That'll be fun. That'll be fun. You guys can talk about yours too. Oh man, we need to do this sooner than later. That'd be a fun chat too. Just people just naming like obscure Steelers. That'd be awesome. I'm not going to do it tomorrow, obviously, because that is the OTA show tomorrow. So I'm going to pay more attention to that. But definitely in the near future, we'll do that because that just sounds fun. And by the way, if you are just tuning in and are seeing the name of the video, yes. A few days ago, Patrick Queen was on Derek Bell's YouTube channel. Go subscribe to that, Steelers_DB. And he said that there were 5 teams that were offering more money. Some of them were offering $17 million. He opted to come to Pittsburgh because he wanted to win now and be a Steeler, which is always awesome to hear from somebody, especially coming from Baltimore. He signed a 3-year, $41 million deal, which is the largest external contract the Steelers have ever given to a player. So for just under $14 million a year. And he even said it himself, the difference to me was I could either get paid or I could try to win now. The difference was, 4 or 5 million. And look, for a 3-year deal for a guy who at the end of the deal is still going to be 28 and still have the opportunity to get more money. I mean, I can appreciate that way of looking at it in terms of, hey, I'm going to get paid again. I want to try to win over these next 3 years. I like the mindset. And I appreciate the fact that he thinks that the Steelers can win now. I think that's pretty good stuff. And during his intro press conference in March, one of the, I can't remember who asked him. It might have been Brooke Pryor. Shout out Brooke Pryor. She might have been the one to ask him what made him decide to come to Pittsburgh, and he just pointed at Mike Tomlin. So, clearly he wanted to be in Pittsburgh. That's always great to see. And now we get to see what Patrick Queen does on the field next to Peyton Wilson, next to Landon Roberts, eventually next to Cole Holcomb, with TJ Watt, with Minkah Fitzpatrick, with Joey Porter Jr. I'm very excited. Very, very, very excited. Yes, love Steelers TV. Watch the Queen program. It was a very good interview he did with Patrick Queen. They talked, about why he came to Pittsburgh, but they also broke down film. And if you follow Derek, he's very good at the X's and O's side of football. I know, enough to get me by in terms. I don't know if I knew half of what Derek knew, I would be a much better analyst. At the same time, though, that's his lane, and that's a lot of people's lanes where they know all of the terminology of different coordinators and stuff like that. Kudos to him, man. That's awesome. Not necessarily my thing. I know enough to where I can recognize what a defense is. I recognize certain routes and whatnot, but he is on a whole nother level when it comes to just understanding that type of stuff. So I tip my hat to him for being so good at that. But yeah, go and watch the Patrick Queen interview. Awesome stuff. Ali, sup Steelers family, hello. I love the mindset of the players they're bringing in. Yeah, no, I do too. And Omar Khan has talked about this. He talked about it at the combine with us. He's talked about it throughout the offseason. Anytime he's spoken to the media, he's like, we want to find guys that are Steelers. I think he talked about it after the draft as well, when they drafted Troy Fautanu and they drafted Zach Frazier. He's like, we wanted to find good football players, but we wanted to find Steelers. So that's been something that he's really a point that he's really tried to get across, and they feel comfortable with the guys that they've been bringing in. So that's always good to see. He's taught me more than I knew before. Hey, anytime like I have like a film question, I text Derek. I'm like, hey, I think this is what this certain look is, and I think that this was the assignment of the safety. Tell me if I'm right or not. So anytime I have any sort of like film questions, I ask him. So yeah, very, very smart football mind. This just turned into a Derek Bell love fest, and that's okay. Follow everybody in Steelers media, by the way. Follow Nick Farabaugh. Follow Alan Saunders. Follow Zach Smith, DB, Chris Carter. We haven't had Alan on this show yet. I need to get Alan on here. I think everybody that I just named has come on this show at least once. We need to get Alan on here. Alan's fun. But yes, good stuff all around. Yeah, see, more DB love. All right, if you got any more questions, comments, stay on for the next few minutes, and then we'll get out of here. Trying to cut these off around like 40-ish minutes. And then, yeah, like I said, tomorrow I will be at OTAs. And so tomorrow's show will be hey, this is what I saw. This is who had a really big day. Talk to some guys in the locker room after. This is what they said. So absolutely, if that sounds like your bread and butter, be here tomorrow. Again, we'll aim for an 8 to 8:30 start time. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, you know what to do. Go and subscribe. If you know other Steelers fans that aren't subscribed to the channel, send them my way. Tell them to subscribe. But yeah, tomorrow will be recapping Thursday OTAs, what I see, who I talk to, what they tell me. It'll be a very newsworthy show full of firsthand information. So please do all that YouTube stuff and subscribe, like the video, tell everybody about it, and be here tomorrow again between 8 and 8:30, probably closer to 8, I'd say, just because, that seems to be the hot window to have everybody in here. We'll talk about everything that I saw at OTAs and bring questions as well. Yeah, all of that good stuff. Orlando, Troy, Buss, Hines, Greg Lloyd, Casey Hampton, Ryan, Joey Porter, Rod Woodson. Are we just naming our favorite Steelers now? Again, we'll make an entire show out of that. I promise. That'll be a fun show. I know my top 5. So we'll after that, it gets a little bit shaky. There's certainly other guys that I know will be on the list. It's just a matter of where they'll be. DB, JB, and AB are all great. Who's AB? We're talking about Antonio Brown. But no, I appreciate it. Because DB is Derek. JB, I assume, is me. Who's AB? I'm just going to go Antonio Brown. We're going to go Antonio Brown with that, considering this is a Steelers show. So I appreciate the shout. Had another great show yesterday. I did watch the Russell Wilson, Justin Fields episode today. I had it on while I was cleaning my apartment. Yeah. Derek is often my background noise. Just turn that on and listen to his thoughts. Should I give you my top 5 right now? I'll give you my top 5. You know, fine. I'll give you my top 5. I'll give you my top 3. I'll give you 2 of my top 5. I won't tell you the order. I'll give you an obscure one. Mike Wallace is in my top 5. I love Mike Wallace growing up. Mike Wallace kicked ass. Yeah, so from like 2009 to he was there to what, 2012? Yeah, because he was a free agent after 2012 and signed with the Dolphins. But yeah, I was heartbroken when he left. I love Mike Wallace. So Mike Wallace, I'll give you another like obscure one. Mike Wallace is definitely in my top 5. Kimo von Oelhoffen might be in my top 20. Like I remember like being like younger, because Kimo was with the team when I was in like kindergarten, 1st, 2nd grade. I just loved his name, so was a big Kimo von Oelhoffen guy. Eventually went to the Jets. Alan Faneca also eventually went to the Jets. So did Willie Colon. A lot of guys went to the Jets later in their career. Is there any other Steelers who went from Steelers to Jets? There's a few Jets to Steelers. Jericho Cotchery, James Farrier, Santonio Holmes. went from Steelers to Jets. That's 4. Le'Veon Bell, that's 5. There's a lot of Steelers to Jets stuff that has happened. Am I missing any? I don't think I'm missing any big ones. But that's at least 5. And plus Cotry and Ferry, who came over from the Jets, that's like 7. Yeah, there's a lot of Cardinals and Steelers crossover and a lot of Jets and Steelers crossovers. That's what I've noticed, especially in like the 2000s. Le'Veon Bell top 5. Le'Veon Bell's definitely in like my top, probably 10, definitely 15. Again, I have to make the list, but I'll sit down and make the list. That'll be fun. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. Neil O'Donnell was a Steelers to Jets. Yes, they gave him so much money. What did the Jets give Neil O'Donnell? I know they gave him a lot of money after the 95 season, 94 season. Neil O'Donnell, Jets contract. Okay, we're gonna see. They gave 5 years, $24 million, $7 million signing bonus. How hilarious! And then they went 1-15, either that year or the year after, because eventually they brought in Parcells to replace Rich Kotite as head coach. And I want to say it was after either the 95 year or the 96 year. So one of those two. And then Parcells went from the Jets to New England to Dallas. No. Yeah, Jets to no. When the hell did Parcells go to New England? I have it stuck in my head. I know that he left the Jets, and then Bill left the Jets to go to the Patriots. Now, I'm going to have to look at the Bill Parcells coaching history. Aaron Smith. One of my best friends in high school's name was Aaron Smith. Fun fact. Aaron Smith is really good. He's skinny as hell now. A lot of those dudes have slimmed down. Casey Hampton was at OTAs a few days ago, and he looks much trimmer. A lot of those dudes have really just slimmed down. Alan Fanika's really slimmed down. I'm trying to think of other guys that I've seen that have gotten smaller. Ben is just about the same size. Hines Ward's gotten a little bit bigger. A lot of the dudes, like, especially like you look at like the skill position guys, they'll get a little bit bigger because they don't have to watch what they eat anymore. Like Darrelle Revis has got like a nice dad bod now. Hines has got one. It's always nice to see dudes getting older and just be like, I'm going to eat this because I couldn't before. I wasn't alive to watch John Stallworth. I was born in 98, homie. So John Stallworth will not be on the list because I didn't watch a down of his, at least not live. I wasn't alive to experience it firsthand. Oh my God. I need to trim my face. The mustache is making my face itch. But okay. So we talked about Patrick Queen, like we said we were going to. This was more or less a forum show, which I'm fine with. Not all of these are going to be hard hitting, but talked about Patrick Queen, so we at least got the bases across. Tomorrow will be be sure to watch tomorrow. Going to be a lot of firsthand stuff, firsthand conversations with players. My overall thoughts on what I saw at OTAs. So be sure, if you don't watch it live, watch it at some point because there will be a lot of info firsthand that you can only get from so many people that will be there. So I will be one of them. So be sure that you're subscribed. If you want more just general NFL content, the latest episode of the Pump Fake is also on here. It's the NFC North preview. You can also listen to that wherever you get your podcast if you can't watch it or would just prefer to listen to it. That's the Pump Fake with Jarrett Bailey. You can watch it here, listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. I got a little bit of insider info about the Dolphins and what their plans are with Tua and Jalen Waddle going forward. So you can go read that over on USA Today's Touchdown Wire. Bunch of other stuff you can read over there as well. Top 36 quarterbacks, 35 quarterbacks, 35 non-football comparisons. a bunch of different stuff on USA Today. I did a big long piece about Trevor Lawrence. If you go to the Behind the Steel Curtain side of things, I did a piece recently making the case for Russell Wilson. Did a show about it on here for Black and Gold Breakdown. Was that yesterday? Might have been yesterday's show. So ton of content that you can get from me, both visually, audio, written. Follow all my work, subscribe to the channel, be here tomorrow, damn it. A lot of, again, firsthand info that you can only get from so many different people. So OTA recap show tomorrow. So absolutely be on top. I appreciate you, Rob. Yeah, Chris Carter, one of the best. Big sunglasses guy, Chris Carter. That's one of the things he doesn't play about. He loves himself some like a good pair of sunglasses. Watch because I knew it was not a forum type show. Hey, like I said, especially this time of year where some of this stuff's going to get repetitive. If we have shows like this where it's more, open forum, just talking, taking your comments, that's always fine. I try to at least have a base thing, like a base topic to at least start the show with and reference back to at least give us a base to jump off of. So today was Patrick Queen. We had a nice conversation about the linebackers. We'll always have something like that. But the open forum is something that, I'm always open to. And as long as you guys are chatting, then, we'll keep doing shows like this for sure. You're not going to say something stupid like Fields is the future, are you? I mean, I would like to think that he could be, but until he shows that, I will be cautiously optimistic. I am going to do a piece on Justin Fields soon, so that will be something to look out for to read. Chris was drilling Dan Moore today with the questioning. I'll have to go find that. Yeah, like I said, I'm going to make my rounds tomorrow in the locker room, ask some questions, and report back what I hear. So there will be a lot of written stuff from me tomorrow Behind the Steel Curtain, and there will be a lot of reporting firsthand what I see on this channel tomorrow, OTA recap. So subscribe, tell your friends to subscribe, all that good stuff. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. And we're almost to 1,000 subs, which a month ago, I think I was sitting at like 300. But ever since I started making this like a daily thing, you guys have really tuned in. So I appreciate that. Get me to 1,000 before the end of the month. That would make my little heart very happy. You got a couple days to do it. And tomorrow's going to be a good show to tune in. So be sure to do that. I will see all of you tomorrow. OTA Thursday recap, second week in a row. So bring your questions, bring some popcorn, sit down and enjoy all the info I'm going to feed into your little brains. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.